Hi guys. All right, we're gonna try this again. Facebook crashed on me earlier. Hopefully Facebook won't crash this time. So let's go on an adventure and hopefully this will work. Hi, so today's Tuesday, and because it's Tuesday, that means I do a live training for you guys about how to clients from your content, how to use social media marketing to get more clients and visibility, things of that nature. And then today, I'm gonna be talking about LinkedIn. Um, Mostly because one of my current projects is putting together and optimizing a LinkedIn profile for a bookkeeper. So I figured it's been a while since I've covered something like that. So here we go. Let's talk about your LinkedIn profile and how to optimize it. Also, before I get started, I do have a free checklist. So if you need a tool to help make sure that you're including everything useful on your LinkedIn profile, your Facebook profile, even your Instagram, I have a checklist. I use it in my business. I'd be happy to send it to you. Just reach out to me and I'll shoot it your way, okay? Anyway, so LinkedIn profile, what do you do? How do you optimize it to make sure that it's strategic, helping you get more business, helping you build relationships with new clients? So there are three parts I want to talk to you about that are on your LinkedIn profile. There's the headline, there's the summary section, and then there's the experience part. And I also, at the bottom, I'm gonna have three other things that I'm gonna tell you to do. They're little bonus, like formatting tips, things to include and double check. Again, if you want the checklist, just reach out, I'll send it to you. So, three parts of your LinkedIn profile I'm gonna talk about. First one is your headline. Okay, so of course, when you look in your LinkedIn feed, you will always see someone's profile picture, their name, and this headline part. It's only 120 characters. It's really, really short. What most people do, especially if they're working for a company, if they're an employee, they'll put their title and the company they work for. So, for example, I used to be a bookkeeper at Accepted, okay? And that's what I could put there. A better thing to do if you own a business, you want to put your help statement right there. Basically, I help X achieve Y. So, for example, on my Facebook profile, I say I help bookkeepers write and strategically use their social content to double their business. You see what I mean? So, when someone is looking at me, if I pop up in their LinkedIn feed, they're not just going to see that I'm a content creator. That doesn't trigger the benefit in their mind, right? I want them to know how I can help them and who I help specifically. I help bookkeepers. Okay, that grabs some attention, right? To write and strategically use social content to double their business. Oh, there's the benefit. You see how that makes a much bigger difference in a very valuable line? You want that information to be very visible. It's way more important than just listing, I'm the CEO of my business. That's not as useful or strategic. So use that little bitty headline underneath your name and really get the full punch for it. Put your help thing in there. It's also a really good place to put if you have a niche that you help with. Maybe you have, work specifically with lawyers. For example, I'm a copywriter specifically for bookkeepers, things of that nature. Highlight that there to grab attention. You want your ideal clients seeing that fast. So, for example, a bookkeeper's tagline might be, or headline might be, I help creative e commerce businesses achieve higher profits with less stress. Do you see how clear that is? Who you're helping, specifically who you're helping, and then what you're helping them to do. Higher profits with less stress. Those are things that e commerce businesses deal with. So, that's the headline. Make it your help statement. Use that. If you do nothing else, that will be a huge improvement for your profile. So that's one part for your LinkedIn profile. Another part is the summary. And that's basically like that paragraph size section below where you can write whatever you want. And there's a lot that you can do with this. So the first thing I want you to know is this section is not your resume. This section is not where you're bullet pointing your experience and the departments you worked with and how many years you were. This is not that area. That is not what you're doing. This is like an About Me page from your website, just on your LinkedIn profile. And there are ways to use it really well. Because here's the thing when it comes to this kind of content, something to keep in mind. When it comes to generating sales and relationships and things of that nature, it doesn't just happen. No one's going to read your LinkedIn profile one time, no matter how amazing it is. No, really, anyone's going to pick up the phone as soon as they read your LinkedIn profile and said, here's my money, work for me. That's not how it works. You have to build this relationship up over time. It's common to have 5 different sales touch points with someone. They go to your website, see your LinkedIn profile, sign up for your email list, and get 3 emails, and then they're ready to talk. Then they might be willing to spend money. This is how it works. You have to build it up. So one thing you really want to make sure is present in your LinkedIn profile, You want to make sure they have other places to go. You want to bring those stepping stones out. You don't want to make it hard for them to keep interacting with you to get those 5 touch points done, right? You want to bring them further into your world. You want to keep communicating with them and being on their radar, right? So make sure that you're including this. That's the strategy for this part, for this summary. We are trying to make it easier to be a gateway to other parts, to our social media, to our website, to our social proof, things of that nature. So that's important to know from the beginning. This is not a place to list your resume. This is a different strategy, okay? So I want you to start out in this section by basically putting your help statement again at the top. We want that to be very clear. Who are we helping and what do we do for them? Make that clear, because there's just a limited, kind of like how when you are reading a post on Facebook, then it says ... see more. Think about that with LinkedIn too. Make sure that first line is a zinger, right? You want them to read the rest of it. Now, you do want to talk about you. You want to talk about your experience. You want to talk about your hobbies and yourself as a person. You do need to talk about yourself. But you have to be strategic and make it about them, in the sense of you're not trying to monologue to them about how awesome you are. Because think about it, it's just like, when someone's telling you how awesome they are, you just don't care. It's okay to tell it in a story a certain way, but you can't just list off your achievements. I mean, think about this in like a first date scenario, right? If a guy's just sitting there listing off, here's my degree and I went to Harvard and stuff like this, and all he cares about is listing off all the ways that he's great, yeah, you're not gonna care, right? You really aren't. It's trying to make sure that they're engaged, that you're connecting with them. Remember, this is not a list of your accomplishments. This is not a list of your experience. This is a way to build that know, like, trust. Everyone's heard that phrase for a reason. You're building know, like, and trust. So that's what you're putting into this section. You're not making a list. You're helping them get to know you, get to like you, and trust you. So you have to share about yourself. You have to put some of your personality in it. And you have to give them a reason to trust you, which is the authority. I'll get into that in a second. So if they like you, they'll remember you. If you just list, the past 4 jobs that you were at in analytics or whatever, they're not going to remember you. But if you talk about how you're like, oh, and this weird hobby of mine, I love to do wood carving in my spare time. And you can tell the story. And then that sticks much better. You become memorable. You stand out. I know it's goofy, but it's human. We remember human details. We want to work with humans. You're not leaving out your professional details. You're just making yourself more human and memorable when you add those things, right? So share your hobbies, talk about your family, your travels, but keep it brief. Remember, we're not trying to list your resume. The list is not the purpose. You're trying to tell a story about yourself in a short way, in a captivating way, make yourself human. So that's the first part of it. You start with your help statement, you go into a little more about your experience and your hobbies, your interests, who you are as a person. Now here's other things that I want you to include as well in this section. You may not be able to do all of them, and that's fine, but again, remember, we're trying to leave, this is like a train station, and we want to make sure they have trains going to different stops. We want to keep interacting with these people and give them a way to do that easily. So one really good way to do this, remember, we're building know, like, trust. A trust way to do it, you're building authority. Why should they care about you as a bookkeeper? Why should they care about you as a service provider? Put in a testimonial. If you're talking about your business, say, by the way, this is what I've achieved for other clients. Put in a testimonial. Testimonials are massively helpful. I can tell you all day how awesome I am, but you're going to believe someone else saying it much more than me saying it about myself, right? So put that in there. Make the most of this space. Also, if you have a freebie, lead magnet, a download, an email list, maybe you have a podcast episode that was really good that you were a guest on or whatever, include the link to that, especially if it's something educational or valuable. People are more willing to sign up for something free and get to know you and start to trust you more without having to open their wallet yet. So if you have something free like that, link to it. Remember, we're building up this relationship. We're trying to accumulate these touches. And it's also not a bad idea to give a brief overview of your services. Not down to the last nitty-gritty detail and process, just kind of an overview so they have an idea of what you do in more depth. So for example, my hit list is basically, custom content, social media posts, email templates, website content, and lead magnets. And so it's just 5 points, something like that. Also, always include in content like this, again, we're trying to move the relationship forward, include a call to action. And all that means is tell them what to do next in order to keep interacting with you. Don't make them guess. If they guess, you're going to lose them. Your best way to get them to actually follow through and keep interacting with you is to tell them what to do next. Schedule a call on my calendar here. Email me now to get started. Download our free tool at this link. Listen to this podcast here. See how it's action. Call, email, download. They're active. They're verbs. Tell them what to do. And also include best ways to contact you. If you have to, you're going to update your contact section on there. You're also going to include this in your, in the summary section. You want them to know how to get a hold of you. Again, it's all about moving them towards you to continue interacting with you. So what's the best way to contact you? So for example, for me, I will never include my WhatsApp information on a public platform like this. I turn off notification and I'll tell them, contact me on my Facebook page, because that's where I contact and interact with, potential clients and things of that nature. I don't let someone access my WhatsApp unless they're like a private client of mine, right? So tell them the best places to reach you. For example, my email, I also set expectations for my email. I'm in a different time zone, my weekends are different, and I don't check it like every hour of the day. So I set those expectations. Tell them the best way to contact you, the best way to get a quick response or to be helped by someone on your team, even a VA. Tell them how to contact you to continue the experience being good. Include that in your summary. Also, a couple of formatting tips for this section. You want this to be readable. Don't put a big chunk of text. They're not going to read it. Don't be 1 or 2 huge paragraphs. Your brain looks at it, goes, what? And then it runs off. It won't actually process it. Use bullet points. Use short paragraphs. 2 to 3 sentences tops. Keep it clean. Keep it open and airy in those ways. Another good thing to do is, as you're including things like testimonials or talking about the effects that you've gotten for other clients, for example, talking about your experience, be very specific. Use numbers, use dollars down to the penny, use percentages. By the way, numbers ending in 7 and 9, those are usually more convincing, just so you know. If you can say your typical client sees a 30% profit increase in the first 3 months, if you can find a way, if that's true, do you hear how specific that is, how convincing that is? Try to include things that are very specific. Don't be vague. Tell them exactly what you can do for them. So be specific. And this kind of goes into the experience for your company. So below the summary is where you have, this is where everything's listed out for you, where you worked before, what times you worked before, what companies you worked for. Now here's what you want to do. If you're promoting your business, you want to make sure that your current company, the one that's your baby, it's at the top and it has the most information. It's okay to have the other companies listed, but for example, I had to double check. My first job was at Wendy's. I don't care that Wendy's is on my resume anymore. It's not relevant. It really isn't. So that's not on my resume anymore because it doesn't serve the purpose of my profile, and that's a good thing to remember. What purpose is your LinkedIn profile serving? If it's trying to bring in clients to your business, you have to look at everything in that angle. Okay, what makes me look like a good service provider, a good problem solver for this specific kind of client? Think about it from that person's perspective. No one cares that I worked at Wendy's. It doesn't do anything for me. It's just clutter on my sheet. So make sure that you're putting as much focus and emphasis as possible on the job experience that matters, that's relevant. So for example, I'll never take off my journalism degree from my LinkedIn resume because it's relevant to what I do. It gives me authority. But there are other things I probably should trim off of it just to make sure things are laser focused on my business. This is where I want you to focus. This is what I'm good at. And also, again, format it so it's easy to read, bullet points, short paragraphs. You can go into more detail down here. It's not meant to be so narrative. And you can list out more what your tasks were and stuff like that. But remember to try and focus more on benefits than on just listing the services you've done. Don't just say answered phones. Go into the little resume bullshit a little bit, or it's just like, redirected customer needs to the appropriate location. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that everything you're talking about, this is a problem I solved, not something I just did. This is a problem I solved. So make sure that you're focusing on benefits and not just listing your services when you have that description for your company. Now, there are 3 other things I want to make sure that you include and double check on your LinkedIn profile. So that was just the content and writing part, and I want to talk a little bit more about 3 other things to double check and to do. 1, optimize your images. Okay, so I started out talking about how that headline, it's right there under your name. And what are the 3 things people see when you're on the newsfeed? Your profile picture, your name, and the headline. Guess what? Your profile picture, super important. Super important. Don't just crop your face out of a group photo from a poorly lit networking event. It's not very professional. It's not very inviting. It doesn't feel like you made an effort. You can take a good selfie. You can find lighting at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, good natural lighting outdoors. Set the timer on your phone and make sure that your face folds up the picture. You can kind of turn your head to the face a little bit. It's supposed to be a little bit better. Get your face in the frame. Just look professional. Have good lighting. Make sure that you're seen. Remember, this is what they're going to see. Your face, your name, and your headline. So make sure that your face is something that says, I'm ready to do business. I'm taking this seriously. Not only that, but kind of like in Facebook, you have the banner photo. So when someone comes to your profile, they're going to see that. It's basically like a billboard for your profile. Use it. So for example, if you look on mine and other people's who have done this very intentionally, make an image in Canva. I think you can even set it to you can choose a LinkedIn banner as a setting in Canva for something to make. Put something useful there. Don't waste the space. It's huge billboard. Your newest download, your help statement even, your call to action, a freebie that you're giving away, whatever it is, use this billboard space. Go into Canva, create a picture that tells more about your business and what you do and how to, again, keep moving towards you. Use the space. So optimize your images, your profile, and your banner photo in Canva. And if there's a way, if you have a visual element to your work somehow, try and throw it in with your experiences. Anyways, also number 2 for the tips, build up your social proof. This is different on LinkedIn than on Facebook, but whatever you can do to build it up, do it. So you can list skills that you're good at. You can trade endorsements of those skills. So, if you have professional friends, it's look, hey, I'd like to endorse stuff on your page. Would you mind if we trade endorsements? And then they can all they have to do is click a little plus sign, and then you get endorsed, by 10 people or whatever on your P&L reports, on your payroll, whatever it is, And also, guess what? That's a word search. It's really good to have those skill endorsements there. It's a keyword part of LinkedIn, so keep that in the back of your mind. That's part of why it matters when someone's looking for someone who does payroll, someone who's good at bookkeeping, things like that. Put those things down there. It matters when people are searching. Also recommendations, that's basically testimonials. Again, if you need to trade back and forth with some professionals, friends of yours, or if you want this to be where you bulk up your business, when you finish a project for a client, send them the link to review you on your LinkedIn page. Testimonials, or in this case, recommendations, go so far. I can tell you all day that I'm awesome, but if someone else says I'm awesome, that's believable. Think about it. We're in a world of online buying, and what do before you buy something online? You read the reviews. So put the reviews wherever you can. And then there's also a section further down where it says add to your you have an accomplishment section. So maybe you were in a notable podcast, maybe you have you wrote a blog on Medium or something like that. Whatever it is, again, you're adding value. You're showing that you're an authority. If you have stuff, beef it up. Put it in there. It makes you look more serious, and also you're giving them links to continue to learn more and give more value. So that's your social proof. And 3, again, if you have the most perfect LinkedIn profile and no connections, nothing's going to happen. You need to keep building your network. So this is something about supplementing the content on your profile. Think of it this way. If the content on your profile is a live show that you're putting on, you're also responsible for filling the audience up. You're the one who has to sell the tickets to put the butts in the chairs. And that means sending connection requests. That means networking in groups. You've got to make connections with people so that they can see your content. You've got to fill the audience. So remember that you're marketing on social media. So there is this social element, not just putting up content. So make sure that you're doing that to get them, that's the way to get the most out of your profile, is that you are making sure people can actually see it by connecting with these people. So anyways, that's what I have for you. Again, I have a free checklist, and it covers Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and also shares a couple of links that I really like to use for these kinds of things. Reach out, I'll send it to you, no problem, just to make sure that you're making the most of these profiles, because once again, you want these things to be solid and be putting people into more contact with you repeating. You want to build those sales relationships, and these places are really valuable places to take advantage of. Anyways, that's what I've got for you today. Hope you have a lovely day, and yeah, let me know if I can help you write this stuff or anything else you got, okay? Talk to you later. Bye, guys.